Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Rails Minute. My name is Dan Bostrom. I'm Rails Member Engagement Manager, and I'm here with Deirdre Brennan, Rails Executive Director. Rails Minute is our effort to bring you short videos where you can find out more about what is happening with Rails. Deirdre, last week we had a meeting with the Massachusetts Library System. Library Services?
Massachusetts Library System, yep.
But about what issues libraries and library systems are facing. Do you want to talk briefly about what you heard in that meeting? What came out of it?
Sure. So it's interesting with Massachusetts because we have the same, pretty much almost exactly the same life cycle with them as well. When the mergers happened that formed Rails, the same thing happened in Massachusetts. Their existing systems, I think at the time they had 5 merged into one. It's a smaller state, obviously. So, and of course I used to work there, so it's always been, we have always been great colleagues. They had an e-read grant at this, same time as us. So anyway, so it's always good to talk with other people in your business. So we talked about strategic planning. They just finished theirs. We need to do one of ours, an update of ours. So out there, everybody, stay tuned for that. We talked about data. They're very interested in data, as are we. You were there. We talked a lot about members stuff and marketing. Also about continuing education. They're about to embark on using a new platform, which I don't remember what it is, but it's something that I think might be very helpful for us. So yeah, just obviously we talked about money, there's never enough money to go around. So yeah, it was very useful, I thought. And we meet regularly with the Wisconsin library system, and it was an idea of one of us that, let's reach out to some other systems and see what we can learn and what, relationships we can develop.
Yeah. Coolest thing from my perspective is we were talking about interlibrary loan delivery, and they were saying that every day they have a truck that goes to the islands.
Yes.
They have to go to Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, and so it goes to Woods Hole.
Yeah, they have to go on a plane, or they used to go on a plane. I know when I remember when we were going through the throes of some of our delivery stuff, and here in Illinois, and I said to somebody at the state library, well, at least we don't have any islands. You think we had islands in Massachusetts, at which point Greg McCormick corrected me that I guess officially where the Rock Island, armory,
the arsenal,
the arsenal is on an island. I was like, oh, for crying out loud, It's not very far away. You can
right.
drive a bridge to it. I mean, Nantucket's a long ferry ride. So
yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, in previous episodes, we've discussed the Rails board nomination, and that is open right now. We have 5 seats available. What is the process from here? When's everything going to take place?
Sure. So yes, nominations are open. We are really, really wanting a diverse pool this time. We always strive for diversity, but with our equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts in general this year, we're really working harder on that. We've expanded our recruitment, and it's not just about color or gender or age. It is kind of adding in the age thing. We also think that, generally speaking, most of the people on the board or who run for the board are directors or are at higher levels in libraries, and that's great. We've always had wonderful board members, but there are other parts of the library staff that we serve too, and that it would be really great to hear their voices as well. Anyway, this year, as you say, we have 5 seats. We have 3 trustees seats open and 2 at-large seats. By law, we have to have a majority on the board of public library trustees. So we do have 8 seats. This year, 3 of them are open. All 3 incumbents are running, but we certainly hope we get additional candidates. The 2 at-large seats, anybody can run for that seat. library director, academic, special school library, etc., trustee. One of the incumbents for one at-large seat cannot run again. He has served his 6 years. So the other incumbent is running. So that will be a, very, that's always a very competitive piece. So go to the website. You can find the nomination form. I think nominations close March 26th.
Mhm.
And then the election will open for a few weeks, and then, when that's over, we'll compile the ballots and then, move on from there. So I hope
Great.
lots of people will nominate.
Yeah, let's get as many people as we can. That's great. Okay, what else is happening around Rails? What would you like people to know about?
I would like people to know that in the American Rescue Plan Act that was just signed today by President Biden, there is $200 million for the Institute for Museum and Library Services, and literally billions more for library eligible programs, including over 7 billion for broadband access. This is huge. This is, one-time money. Maybe not, but I have to assume that it will be, but this is such an opportunity to invest in infrastructure, library buildings, broadband, automating some of our delivery services, some of the sorting, which is, very labor intensive. Just, lots of things that we libraries and and other institutions and people in need have those kinds of investments have not been possible for years. So really happy to see that libraries are recognized, are being recognized with money, not just words. Words are great, but money is better, so that we can serve people better, so I think anybody who's listening knows it's always really good to say thank you. So please send a thank you to your legislators, your senators in Washington, and it's an incredible opportunity, and I think we all have to be engaged in figuring out the best way to spend the money.
Yes, yeah, and thank you to the people that advocated, on the front end. And
Yes, exactly. Thanks to the American Library Association, the Illinois Library Association, all of our colleagues and our members who have been involved in this. It has worked, and as I say, the money that's included for things that we haven't spent money on in forever is just great. I mean, we know, Dan, we used to drive around Illinois, and there's a lot of places. And I was just reading that don't have, adequate internet coverage. And I was just reading an article yesterday that still, 30% of Americans depend, and I imagine it's more than that in Illinois, frankly, depend on the library for their internet access. I mean, I think, there are some people who assume that everybody has their own PC or their own laptop or whatever. That's just not true. So how did they apply for unemployment? How did they, when libraries were closed? I mean, don't get me started. It's supposed to be a minute, right? But
yeah,
it's very important that we put this money to good use and really build, an infrastructure that will last us a while.
Agreed. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so this is the point where we turn to member questions. And if you do have a question, you can either leave a comment below, or you can email them to communications@railslibraries.info. And I believe that you have a question for me. Is that correct? Yeah.
I do. I want to congratulate you and everybody who worked on the My Library Is grants for school libraries. I think that let's celebrate that. Maybe you would like to talk about some of the grants and the libraries that are involved. I think it's fantastic that we were able to do this for school libraries.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, this was great. This was a collaboration with ISLE, the School Library Association, and we chose 14 grants. Actually, we awarded all 14 applicants, which is very cool to be able to do that. And we gave out almost $14,000 in funds. There were so many, there were so many creative approaches to this. We asked people, when we asked people to apply, we said, please tell us how you are telling your story, how you're making a difference for your school, for your community. How are you articulating your value? And we got a lot of different responses. We got a lot of different ways people were doing things. I'll just kind of mention a few. There's a part, one that I really liked. There was a partnership between the Kankakee School District and the Kankakee Public Library, and it was a Young Writers Contest. And I thought that was a really cool way to kind of market the services of both institutions. In the small town of Brand, Illinois, the high school library actually acts as the public library. Not a lot of people know about that.
Wow.
So they wanted to help publicize that more and help get more people into the high school library to be able to check out materials and use the resources that are available. And so in their application, they put together a video where they talked to the mayor. It talked to a lot of different people about, the fact that there is a library in that town. There isn't a public library, a separate public library building. So this was, this is something that they really wanted to get people aware of. There were a lot of people that were using funds, purchase things like a wider collection of materials for students in order to do programming. There's some people that we're going to purchase technology in order to do outreach to certain populations of high school students. So it was really fun to read the application, and I think we did the right thing. And working with ISLE was a blast, and they made everything a breeze. So that's been a great collaboration from that perspective. But I'm real pleased with how it turned out, and I'm excited to see what happens with these projects.
That is great. I just did a podcast yesterday with Nicole Steves from Fox River Grove. They received a grant last summer, I think, or last spring, just as the pandemic was about to start. And they made a couple of great videos. I watched them, and yeah, they had people in the library and, completing the sentence, my library is, it's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, libraries doing really creative, innovative things to tell their story. So.
Yeah. Great.
Okay, well, that will do it for us on this episode of Rails Minute. Deirdre, thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.